There's Eyjafjalla here right now. They just announced Swire and Eyjafjalla. Then there's even more alters in between these two, and it doesn't take the IQ of a QaiserGAMES viewer to assume that there's probably gonna be more alters in the future. Where did things go wrong? Or where did they go right, depending on your stance. Alters in Arknights are very special and they follow a long line of tradition. Let's explore them based on the newest addition to the Bad Dragon catalog. Notice how differently she seems from her original form. She fixed her posture, she's done her hair, her eyes don't look that bloody sleep deprived anymore, even the colors changed slightly. In her new form she's more saturated than that Nico Cado guy. Girl looks like she's straight out of a Drake album cover. Reed very clearly has decided to turn her life around. She started going to the gym, eating healthy, getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, stopped spending half of her fucking day on Reddit, she watches my videos instead, and turned into Eyjafjalla. I've seen comments asking about the very clear changes in her appearance, and I think we literally can attribute that to the fact that the Arknights people want to symbolize that her life is not all that shitty anymore since she joined Rhodes Island. After all, she went from burning people involuntarily to burning people she wants to burn. See, brothers, that's how much your life is gonna improve if you leave your room for once instead of watching AI covers of Irish rebel songs all day. Let's talk about all of that. Not the IRA stuff, of course, but more so about her being an alter. Eyjafjalla is the first 6-star operator that is an alter operator that is not a limited operator. She's just a regular ass high rarity operator who gets added to the basic bitch standard pool for the gacha once the event is over. So far, all of the other 6-star alters we got, like the Cuckold Knight or Skadi the Corrupting Pleb, used to be special things for special occasions, you know. They were exclusively reserved for them limited banners on huge anniversary events, and in recent times they seemingly make up the majority of limited ops in this game. Now, Eyjafjalla massively broke that tradition by just being a regular ass standard pool 6-star that's also an alter. That is nothing completely new though. The first alter to be added to the standard pool is not gender bent Alduin over there, but a purple haired zoomer wearing her grandma's clothing. Be careful who you call ugly in middle school. Then again, she's just a 5-star on one hand, and on the other hand she's also one of those trainee type wankers. Just like Lava and Cruz, they are variations of low rarity characters who are considered to be recruits and shit. That's also the explanation for changes in their appearance. They've straight up grown up. That makes sense as a concept, right? One version as a recruit, one version as a proper operator. After all, they can't cancel you for hiring child soldiers if they live long enough to become adults. If we look at other alter operators, they all also vaguely fit into this concept. Although they can hardly count as recruits, their alter forms show them at a later part of their lives when compared to their original forms. That's evident if you just read the stories and shit. That's why the term alter doesn't really hold up when talking about these characters, as they are not alternative forms from alternative worlds and timelines, but just them after they get a new job or something. So a better term would be something like cunt form, maybe? Apart from Skadi-Alter, I guess. Skadi-Alter is the only one in the very long list of Arknights-Alters that probably doesn't fit into this whole concept, but she's the exception, not the rule. She's also not the first alter, as some people said, as Lava Alter came out before her. And that's where we get to the meat and potatoes of this video. Why though? Why so many alters? And why take something that was reserved for special occasions and make it the norm? Look, what all those alters really show is how Arknights' writing works. They first created one big world, then the characters that inhabit it, and then they go ahead and write stories, and every story installment moves both the characters and the world a bit further forward, and adds and expands on previously established stuff. And the events and operators the game releases are based on the idea of moving things forward. And while every new operator contributes to things, we have gotten to the point where there's literally hundreds of characters in the game, and the decision makers seem to have made the decision that expanding on existing characters is a way more effective way of moving things forward. That's what Read Alter is at the end of the day. Her appearances in the main story, her files, her Alter files and the FireLITE event, put them together and you get her full story up until now, while all of those things also on top of that contribute to the greater Victoria arc story that's being told since chapter 9. To sum up everything that I'm trying to say, Alters are mostly a means of continuing all of the stories the game tells, a vehicle for storytelling. But would they really go as far as to base their character creation around this concept? Yes, of course they would. The Arknights people have proven time and time again just how much they care about the world that they have created. They invest into getting animated lore videos for their anniversary streams. Operator files and event stories are filled with world building facts. Half of the fucking dialogue in season 1 of the anime was just explanations for the things you can see on your screen. It's not that much of a stretch to think that they're creating their characters based on this concept, explaining more and adding more with every character they release. And I am not talking about their kids. I would unironically say that they either made the decision to create Eyjafjalla before they made the decision to release a limited 6-star medic, or maybe they made those two decisions separate from each other and Eyja just ended up being the character they use in order to release a limited 6-star medic. Therefore, one of those two ways. There is absolutely no way on earth that they first created Eyjafjalla's kit and then created the concept of her as a character and her event around that kit. Never. Their focus with almost everything they do lies on the story, world building or lore of Arknights, including new operators. That's, by the way, probably one of my biggest problems with the Arknights anime, by far. My TikTok brain could hardly handle all of the fucking static shots we would get while Amiya would explain why I am supposed to worry about the shiny rocks that are falling from the sky. And I've been playing since launch, boy. Imagine how a bunch of random anime watchers felt when they checked out the show. Anyway, all of that Alter stuff is not going to stop. The way they used Alters for the continuation of stories and the expansion on existing stories has worked almost flawlessly so far. It's actually, it genuinely works. And if their goal is to add to story and world building and their method of doing it works, then what reason do they have to stop? Although personally though, I have some mixed feelings about this whole Alter shite. On one hand, I of course understand this whole concept of using Alters to continue telling stories, and I always enjoy seeing more of characters I love, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I just think new operators are way cooler and way more fun. And that's where it's your turn, brothers. How do you feel about this whole thing with Alters being a part of the standard pool, and the fact that there's just a ton of them? Share your feelings under this video. QaiserGAMES is a safe space for all gamers out there, and if you have no opinion, then just drop some random thoughts into the comment section anyway, and then you click on this video right here for way more slop.